Yep, we're back. How you doing, Eric?
Very well, Graham. Thanks.
It's a very serious intro, isn't it? Very well.
It is very serious this year. I think after today, we're going to get rid of the two other ones, the funk one and this one.
Really? I like this one.
And we've got the funk one too, this one. But so it's either this one.
It sounds to me like, I don't know. Sounds like something out of a detective show.
Yeah.
Or it sounds like Seinfeld. That's.
Yeah, no, we're not Seinfeld. I think we'll, this one is all right, the lounge, but I think the other one is better. So I think for the next episode, you'll hear us with a standard opening tune and get rid of these two.
You know what? Eric is actually also an accomplished drummer.
What's that?
You're an accomplished drummer, so I'm waiting for you to do like a drum solo intro.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. Well, you gotta wait for a few. I'll make a jingle at some point, I think.
Or maybe we can get Tom from the group, Tom Sutherton, who's actually an accomplished. Not getting the words out this morning. Musician.
Yeah, that would be cool. I mean, we can promote his music too. Yeah. Tom, listen to this. Make us an intro, man. But a cool one, a really cool one. All right, Graham. Kick it off.
So I'm digressing. All right, look, I want to talk about a subject because you brought it up this week about classics. So let's go into the classics. And you brought up some great classics. Jim Rohn was one. Zig Ziglar, another one. I want to talk about a classic which is often unknown, but I think that what came from this classic, everybody knows the 4-Hour Workweek, which I talked about with Tim Ferris in the last podcast. But it's interesting that if you read the 4-Hour Workweek, one of the books that Tim Ferris credits as being the genesis of the 4-Hour Workweek was Vagabonding by Rolf Potts.
Okay, you've got me in unknown territory here, Graham, so explain.
Okay. Great. Well, there you go. So here's the thing. Rolf Potts wrote Vagabonding, I think, 5 or 10 years before Tim Ferris wrote the 4-Hour Workweek. But Tim Ferris said that it wasn't for Vagabonding, we wouldn't have the 4-Hour Workweek. And what Rolf Potts did was he wrote a book about traveling around the world. Mm-hmm. It was Vagabonding. Mm-hmm. And it's some really interesting things in it. Because, I mean, travel writing is not new. There's a whole bunch of it. But he was one of the first to kind of give it to this generation, say this is a lifestyle choice, right? You could go and do this, right? Mm-hmm. And I'll just throw a quote out there. And there's also another thing that I want to talk about. There's a quote from the movie Wall Street, which we use in our book as well. We'll come to that in a minute. But I love this quote, and I know you're new to this, but I want to throw this to you. Rolf Potts says, "If in doubt, just walk until your day becomes interesting."
Okay.
Have you ever had that? You don't have to walk, but like walk in whatever context it is. Mm. If in doubt, just walk until your day becomes interesting. Get up and move. Mm.
That's a very interesting quote. I think it's very true in various ways. I think there's two aspects to this, which is I think physical activity clears your mind for sure in my case, but also I think it's I think the secret of big results is small progress every day, right? So just getting things done, and if you prioritize them correctly, getting the important things done. By making progress, you start to feel better about yourself, right? And you start to feel like, okay, this is... And to me, I mean, a lot of my purpose is actually to make small progress every day, right? Because I know a lot of things take time. So I think, for me, it resonates. I think it's true.
And moving.
Right.
I mean, that's the small progress, isn't it? The movement part. I know you're sort of... One of the things we back and forth on this year when we're doing our calls is about, getting out and getting to the gym.
Yep.
I know you're big on that sort of having an impact on your productivity. I'm not so much. I mean, I do work out a lot and I train. But I think that for me, it's just sort of, it's a break. It's a way of structuring my day. Yeah. However, for you said it has an impact on your ability to actually produce stuff, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And it used to be, and I think I would advise anybody that starts with serious workout routines after not having done anything for a long time to start off with doing it in the morning, because it has an enormous impact on how much clarity you get in your brain and things like that. Now I'm at the point where I'm going to the gym 3 times a week, which is enough, I think, for me to be fit and energetic. But now I do it in the afternoons because it fits better with my energy level. So now I go at 4 o'clock because I know by 4 o'clock I'm sort of dipping, and I have my most creative and energetic time early in the morning, I found out. So I've sort of shifted it, but the fact that I have that 3 times a week that I go to the gym with my trainer is essential for me to be fit, healthy, positive, and not be a jerk in many ways at home and procrastinate about stuff. So for me, but I've never been a very fanatic sportsman like you have. So for me, it was always a chore in many ways. And now I found it now it becomes essential. If I don't go, I feel bad. So it's sort of now engraved in my system. I think that I need that to feel good about myself. And there's another expression. I think that this is from Robbins. I think he says that emotions are caused by motion.
That's so true.
So that if you feel shit, or if you feel down, or if you feel bad about things, the first thing is to get your body in a different state, right? That's Tony Robbins, right? He's all about state. That's why he got 6,000 people dancing on house music to get your state changed. And I mean, even while we're doing this podcast, I'm sitting down, I'm standing up, I'm moving around because my mind stays fresh if I do this, right? So
yeah, I mean, especially on phone calls, right? I mean, if you're on a phone call, I remember when I used to do sales on the phone, telesales.
Yeah.
Well, it's telesales, but I was actually in finance.
Yeah.
They would do it standing up. They wouldn't let you sit down when they trained you.
Yeah.
Because your voice sounds different, right?
Yes. So I'm completely in agreement, and movement and motion can cure a lot of mental downness or feeling bad, I think. And that's, I think, also where this start moving the day, start making progress, start doing something, start going on your bike to work or walk to work, or get off a subway stop early and walk the rest. That's a great way to get your day started, I think. Getting some movement in before you actually start either your job or your work or whatever you do.
Move. Yeah. So okay, let me pick up on the theme of jerks, because you mentioned it. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not blaming you. Theme of jerks. So let's bring Rolf Potts back in here.
Okay.
And so there's a quote from the book, and he references Wall Street, the movie Wall Street, which is Charlie Sheen, right?
Yes.
Charlie Sheen. He's the main character, Gordon Gekko.
Yep. The ruthless trader, right?
Exactly. He was the bastard, right? But I think at the end he had the epiphany, didn't he? And saw the error in his ways. There's a really interesting scene in Wall Street, which Rolf Potts uses to open his book. And I think for me, I come back to this so many times. There's a quote, because I think his girlfriend, Charlie Sheen's girlfriend, asks him, why the hell are you doing this? Mm-hmm. And he says, quote, I think if I can make a bundle of cash before I'm 30 and get out of this racket, I'll be able to ride my motorcycle across China. And this is in the late 80s when, China was obviously a different place.
Yeah.
But isn't that interesting, is that, we talked about this in an earlier podcast about the whole idea of, having dreams and having goals, and, how much does it, and Rolf Potts asks, how much does it actually cost to buy a motorbike and ride across China? Mm-hmm. Couple of $1,000s, most.
Yep.
I think most people have probably got the money to do that, right?
Yep.
So what's he saying here? Why does he say that? Why is he stuck in this lifestyle about making a bundle of cash? He has the bundle of cash he needs to go and motorbike across China to achieve that dream, right? It's the same thing, right? To be brave and choose to not do something is very difficult, especially if you're in circles whereby everybody has a job, everybody works 60 hours a week, everybody's in the same routine, goes home, watches TV. It's very hard to break out of those circles to say, look, I'm not going to
buy into this anymore. I'm going to get a van. I'm going to make my own camper van, go into the lazy money machine tribe and find out somebody's actually going to do this. I'm going to make my van. I'm going to sell my house and go and do something different from everybody else. That choice takes balls or guts or courage, and that is the difficult decision. That's why a lot of people say, when I'm 65, I'm going to travel the world. Well, my dad passed away when he was 65. That time might never come. That time might never come. So don't wait, I think. But I think that's what makes it so difficult. The choice to not do something or not fit in anymore, that's the brave decision.
Right. Is that easier than just having the money? I mean, sorry, is that harder than having the money? Because I guess what we're saying is that everybody has the money to do these things, or the resources, right?
And that's it. I mean, you can say, look, I want to go to Fiji and stay in a 5-star hotel.
Right.
But to be very honest, that experience is not a whole lot different than if you go to Fiji and you rent an Airbnb. Fiji is the thing. And you can fly economy class on a budget airline, and you can stay in Airbnb, and you can have close to the experience of a 5-star hotel.
Right. So can I be bad and ask you, what would it take to, as you said, drive across Europe with your wife in a Porsche?
I think at the moment, it's a conscious choice of time that she and I would not want to take the decision to be away from our children for a month. That's really what it is now. We prefer,
can you get them in the back?
Yeah, you need to get a different Porsche. Of course, it can be done, but then you need to get a Panamera on, right? But I want to have the convertible 911 turbo, right? So
they're not old enough to drive themselves, right?
No, they're not. They're not. But I mean, now again, this is a great example, right? Why do I postpone this? Well, I could have a close to this kind of experience with either, a Panamera or, a Porsche that actually can fit all of us. It would be fantastic. It would be a similar experience, but I've sort of got this romantic idea. Okay, we're going to go on a second honeymoon and drive around Europe in a Porsche, right? That's sort of how I've envisioned it. But I could get close to that now, today, by just renting it. I don't need to own the car.
Right. It's a process, isn't it? It's sort of an unraveling. I think that's what we're talking about. It's that we have this idea set in stone of what it should be like, and that's not just these one-off experiences, but everything, like the big game plan. And then when you start asking these questions, it kind of pulls things apart a little bit.
Yeah.
And it falls apart, doesn't it? Until you're sort of left with what it is that you really want and what it is that's really good for you.
Yeah.
And that's powerful, isn't it? Because it's like, I mean, whatever you look at, there's a whole bunch of expectations that build that story in your head. And then you start asking these what-if questions. I mean, I'm not knocking you for that. I just think it's funny, that Porsche one, because we keep going on about it.
Yeah.
But, we've both had experiences of traveling the world. So it's not like, you're not a person who doesn't do these things. So you went off and traveled 6 months, did 3-5 years almost traveling the world. And you talked about our friend in the group buying the Volkswagen Transporter, I think it is, which is like, a nice camper van. And then going traveling, these kind of things. The people are actually doing this stuff, but they've kind of done it not by saying, well, to do this, I need to have everything right. I need to have all these things worked out first. I need to have, like $3.5 million in the bank. I need to have everything, worked out here. I need to have the kids complete school, all these kind of things, because it's never going to happen, is it?
No.
So I think that's kind of what we're saying, going back to Rolf Potts and Vagabonding, is that, to achieve these amazing things, you just have to have the willpower to do it. Money, time, all these kind of things, they'll never be on your side. You've just got to basically, I think the key is be prepared to face a lot of shit, people to say weird things about you and to be rejected and so on. If you can get through that part, you can make it happen.
Absolutely.
And if it doesn't, just keep walking.
Keep walking, keep vagabonding.